Hi everyone, thanks for joining today. Today we're going to talk about, are you getting SEO benefit from your Facebook image posts and how you could be. I see a lot of small businesses and florists in particular who are using Facebook to their advantage by posting images to their personal profiles and Facebook pages for their business. And what I don't see is a lot of people who are using that for good SEO benefit. And this presentation today is going to be about using those images and leveraging those images to drive traffic back to your website, build authority for your website, which in turn can improve your search engine rankings. Just a little bit of an introduction of myself. My name is Dwayne McLennan from Dragonfly Net Solutions here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I've been doing internet marketing since about 2008. And I can be found on Twitter at DwaynerMB. And my website is dflocal.com. I'm also an internet marketer and florist, small business owner, husband, where I work with my wife at Dragonfly Flowers here in Winnipeg. I wanted to do a quick recap from last week. Last week's webinar was how Google ranks websites and the basic needs for SEO. And that webinar was a little bit about basically what Google is looking for, and then now that we know exactly what they're looking for, we can determine what we need to do for SEO without getting too uptight about all the technical side of how that works, and that we should just kind of forget about exactly what Google's looking for from the technical aspect and just think about creating content that's going to match what Google is actually searching for. The power is in our hands to develop this content for our websites that uses target keywords. Quality content is something that will be shared via social media and something that can build authority for the website. Keywords, quality, and authority are the three things that Google's looking for. And they're looking for those things to come naturally through social sharing and through link building from other websites that's created naturally. And the one thing that we can do to do that is to create content, and we can leverage our social media presence to get that content out there and start building that authority through that social media platform. We also talked briefly about how everyone's e-commerce images are boring. I'm not talking about to the consumer, I'm talking about to Google. Everyone's got great images on their website. Every florist website looks quite similar. And to Google, they all look extremely similar. In a specific town, you've got dozens of florist websites that all have rose pages that talk about roses, and they talk about roses in your town. You've got a category page for funerals that talks about funerals and funeral flowers. The names are all sort of similar and different things like that. Whether the images are your own or from a kind of a canned source like the wire services, it doesn't really matter. It's the content behind that. It's the keywords. Google doesn't see your images. They don't know exactly how pretty those are, how great those images are. They only see the text that's behind it. They can't read, they can't visualize and see how amazing your product is. And e-commerce sites do not really have a lot of keyword differentiation among them between one site and the next. So why does one site rank higher than another? And it's because they've created other content. After basic optimization on the site has been done, this other content contains more of those keywords. It contains more of those keywords in different ways, and usually in the form of news feeds and blogs. So we talked about following the path to enlightenment. So not worrying about exactly how the search engines are going to interact with your site, not worrying about what your competitor is doing, not worrying about the wire services and everywhere else. You follow the path to enlightenment, which is telling your story. And Facebook and image sharing and all those things are great ways to tell your story. The one problem with images by themselves is, even though a picture is 1,000 words to a human, to the search engine a picture doesn't contain any words. So you have to explain the picture in words. Once you do that, you're on the right path, and basically you're going to find that search engine rankings will improve. So fresh content plus social media is a huge win. So if you're creating fresh, unique content, using images, using descriptions of images uh, via blog posts and news feeds, sharing those on social media, that can drive new inbound links to your website. It drives more people to your website, creates authority, and helps your search engine optimization. So what happens when we share a photo socially? We share to Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Google+. We're looking for likes, we're looking for comments, we're looking for pins, retweets, favorites, plus ones. All of these things are going to make your social media presence more visible to all your friends and followers, all your friends and followers, and so on. And we hope that these things sort of go viral through the social media landscape. And a lot of florists here are doing this very well and using these images to tell their story through social media about how things that are going on in their shops and images of their staff and products and events that they've done. But is this really helping drive search engine optimization for your website? Just plainly sharing photos to social media is not really providing an SEO benefit for your website. While images are great, um, images are probably the most shared thing. When you look at your timeline, you probably yourself glaze over the posts that just have a little bit of text and maybe a link to something stuck inside there. If you don't see an image popping in front of you, uh, it doesn't drive you to engage as much. And this is proven through HubSpot study of just over 1,500 people back in October, and it's pretty much twice as much engagement from an image. So that's why image sharing is so great. But we should talk about how it can actually help your search engine optimization as well. The problem with Facebook posts and these image posts, yes, they drive engagement, they drive comments, they drive all those different things, but they slowly die after a while. Basically, you've got a great image and you've put it up there and get a bunch of comments, get a bunch of shares, get a bunch of likes, but eventually those images are going to just keep going down the page, and they get down past that part of the page where the page actually has to refresh to bring up new content. Not a lot of people are going past there, so it's kind of a sharing an image on Facebook is kind of a quick hit that drives engagement today, but that image does really nothing for you tomorrow. There's lots of great things where people might look at your photos, click on your photo button to look at all the photos you shared and things like that, but really they're a short-term engagement. And a lot of the images that people are sharing are like the ones you see here. So they're things that you can actually tell a story about. An event that you've been to, a contest that you've run. I love when customers send in photos to us of them interacting with the product or the product in their home or different things like that. An interesting campaign you may have run, like the superhero guy on the left, um, or something personal about yourself. It's actually a picture of my wife and I's wedding in Las Vegas, which we blogged about that. Talk about the industry and the box flowers and different things like that. There's all kinds of different stories you can tell through these images, but we also have to remember again that the search engines, they can't read images. They don't understand how awesome this picture is of this customer who received these flowers, smelling them, and how just how great it was. The people on Facebook can see that and see that it looks neat and the products, and it's kind of a neat picture, but Google can't see that. They can only see the text that was behind the blog post. So you want to create content that lasts. So we know that Facebook is eventually going to push those images down, and then it sort of goes into the abyss of a Facebook archive. With blog content, you've got images and you've got text that the search engines keep coming back to. You may actually put some text in here that is something that someone will type into Google, and your page will come up in the top spot, or second or third spot or fourth spot, and that's going to drive traffic to your website. The diversification of text and keyword content is really something that Google's looking for, and it's all a part of showing up for more searches. Like, we can all figure out how to show up in Google, or we all think about showing up in Google for the term Winnipeg florist or send flowers Winnipeg or things like that, but people are actually typing much longer things, and the longer that gets, the more opportunity you have to actually, pretty much by accident a lot of times, have that exact keyword text on your blog post. And the more of these you do, the more opportunity you have for those longer keyword combinations and phrases to drive traffic back to your website. And the content will last there forever in the eyes of the search engines, and that's where you're going to get the benefit from image blogging. So image blogging supports SEO by the ability to share that image on social media, get those likes and shares, all the different interactions you want with your image on social media. If that image actually links back to your website, you can start to gain page rank and authority in the search engines based on image posts and social media. If you don't have a link back to your website, then that image just resides in social media and doesn't give you any greater visibility for your website and things like that. And you can actually get elevated search rankings and better organic search visibility, which leads to more sales overall, which is what we're all trying to do from these. So the idea is to utilize your photo sharing, which everyone's doing a great job of on Facebook, for two things, and get better bang for your buck from each image that you take. So let's look briefly at photo sharing versus page sharing. Here's on the left is a status update with a link to the page. So this is an image that was taken, and the link is added to just a basic status, which will in turn send someone to the Tranquility Casket spray page. And it's not quite as engaging as a photo post. I will certainly admit that. So when you add a photo, you get a much larger photo, and that becomes more engaging. That's what HubSpot was talking about, why people engage so much more with photos. It's because they're really given more real estate, and they're more in your face when you find them in your timeline. So what can we do about that is we can do basically photo blog sharing. Write a blog about a wedding. You may have 1 image, 2 images, 5 images, 10 images, and you may not want to share 10 images, but you've been sent those by the bride or the photographer, you've taken them yourself, or whatever you might have. In a blog post, you can put them all in and describe each image, what each image kind of means to you in that blog post, and then share your favorite one on Facebook and put a link back to the blog. Now you've got the benefit of image sharing and the interaction and engagement that happens on social media, but you've also got a link back to your website. So people will, they want to see more. You could add text here that says, click on this link to see the 10 images from this website, or to see more. You can get creative in it and try and get people to actually click on those links and go back to your website. So this is, in my opinion, the absolute best way to go about sharing images on Facebook. So you get the engagement through that image, but you also get the ability to bring people back to your website where they might see something they've never seen before. So this social sharing can drive traffic, and try and have everything referenced back to your website as much as you possibly can. It's just basically adding a link to something that's relevant about that image, and you can do that. So you can do that with an actual image blog. You can link to different things on your website, like a contest page or a category page, depending on the seasons. And one thing here is link to something interesting florist related. I like being tied to the florist areas on Facebook. um, the different florist marketing groups and florist pages, and following all kinds of different florists. And I'll share those on the Dragonfly Flowers business page, because it kind of mixes up the content and brings in more interesting things rather than just talking about yourself all the time. Get as much content from other people onto your Facebook page as you possibly can. And so you share 5 posts or a couple posts about something else, and then hit them with something from you, or your marketing message, or different things like that. And it really helps people engage with you a little bit better, uh, because they feel a little bit less sold to, with that type of sharing. So now that we're all creating blogs for our images, one of the things I wanted to talk about is email blasts, and this is the kind of the last tip for the presentation. And this is a really important thing. A lot of florists have really taken to email blasts and using their customer databases, and it is probably the most effective thing you can do to drive traffic to your website and drive sales. Email blasts are still um, rated uh, the #1 tool for marketing, internet marketing, and social marketing. But there's a good way to do it, and there's a bad way to do it when it comes to sharing those email blasts on social media. If you look at your own emails, if you're using Constant Contact or MailChimp or Aweber or one of the other ones, you can share those email blasts on Facebook or email them to people. They'll be taken to something that looks like this link here on the left, us5.campaignarchive1.com, where your email can be seen by the general public, and that's great. The problem with that is that it's going into some weird archive provided by Constant Contact that has nothing to do with your website. It may link back to your website, and people that find it, the only way to find this is through sharing. It can't be found through organic search. It can't be found in any other way. The way to do it, that I like to do it, is to either take those email messages and put them on a post on a newsfeed or in a blog, and then share those links. So you've got the same information, but it's now on your website, and that content, you're taking the time to create these emails anyways. Put them on your website in a newsfeed. Sometimes they're email only um, contests or email only discounts and things like that, which you wouldn't share on your website. But if you've got just a general informational piece that's going out an email about $29.99 roses, absolutely put that on your website. In fact, I've come full circle with this myself. I used to start writing the emails and send those out and then go and grab that and stick it on the website. Now I find that this is so important to me that I like to write the email as a blog first, or a news item first on the website. So you build your email content through that blog first. You build that content onto your website first, and then take that and drag it into an email and send the email out. But then when you share on Facebook and in any other place that you're going to share that, Google Plus to social media, you can do like the post on the bottom, which is basically that email content as a blog, as a news item on your site, and that's going to drive people to your website versus driving people to the weird campaign archive from your mail service provider. So that's the last thing I wanted to talk about today. I hope everyone's found that useful. I did want to get some feedback from everybody. If you can, please tell me what you would like to see on search engine optimization for florists, or social media, or localization, tips and tricks on Google Places, all those sorts of things. I do have a couple planned. One is going to be a little bit more social media geared, where I've invited a local social media expert to come in and talk about social media, and then we'll talk about how that ties to SEO again a little bit, search engine optimization, and then maybe some webinars next year on localization. So we're going to take a break for the Christmas holidays, and then come back with our next webinar in January, and then proceed from there. So any feedback you could provide on what you'd like to see would be greatly appreciated. So thanks everybody for watching, and if you need to contact me again, here's my contact information if you have any questions or concerns, and this is where you can get me to provide feedback on exactly what you'd like to see in the future. Thanks all. Take care.